Happy Manga Monday and welcome back, or if you're new, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Zoe and this is my channel, Ms. Manga, where I talk a lot about manga. What else? And last week we had a super positive video with my fangirling over the manga and anime that I just can't get enough of. I love so very much. So if you haven't yet, please do check that out. But you know, we're switching it up now and we're going negative. So now we're going to talk about all the series that I just can't get into. I'm just not a fan of for one reason or another. And I'll try to be specific about the reasons. Some of them are personal reasons, some of them are just preference. And of course, huge disclaimer, these are just my opinions. I am not saying they are terrible manga and you shouldn't read them, or if you read them and you love them, that you shouldn't love them, because everybody's tastes are different, and that's why there's so many manga in the world for everyone to enjoy. But I did have a commenter, so thank you very much, that commented that they would like to know what series I couldn't get into, you know, something to that effect. And I was currently doing an unhauling video, but because I'm still in the process of that, I was like, you know what, I'll just switch things around, push the unhauling video a little further down the line, and do this just 5 series that I couldn't get into before I unhaul them, and talk about them a little more. So yeah, I hope you're in the mood for a more negative video this Monday, and let's get started. I'm choosing this one first because I've already talked about it a couple times last year. Y'all might know how I feel about this one already, and I think it's less popular, but if you read romance manga and you like romance, I swear every Instagram, every friend who likes romance likes this one, and I just can't get into it. I didn't like it at all. Big zero goose egg. And yeah, so that's why my first pick is Sign of Affection. The fluffiest of cute art. Like, I can't say enough good things about the art. I just didn't like the story. And my main reason for not liking this one is our protagonist is quite boring to me. She doesn't have much of a strong personality, and I really like my female protagonists to have a strong personality. Whether that means that they're, very emotive and, they cry easily or they get angry easily, or if they just have strong desires and strong wills, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be the crazy kooky one. As long as you have things you're super passionate about, you have opinions. And I just felt like our main protagonist, Yuki, has none of that. No personality that I could find in this first volume. The love interest here, he seems to have some things he's passionate. He's passionate about travel. He's adventurous. He likes learning new things. I can list things. The only thing I can list about Yuki is she's going to college for fashion. I had to read that because I couldn't remember. I knew she was going to college. She's going to college and she's deaf. Those are the things I know. Those are just things about her. They're not her personality traits. I guess you could say she's nice. Ugh, I hate that. I hate when someone's personality trait is nice. Like, oh, sorry. I don't like it. It's not for me. I mean, she matches. This is matching me very nicely, though, I have to say. But it's not for me. It can be for you, and that's okay. I love that it has representation. I said it before and I'll say it again. We should have more characters that, have a disability, like being deaf, portrayed in a positive way for a fluffy romance. It doesn't have to be all about her disability. That's not what I want. I just want her to have more of a personality. And it would be nice to showcase, I guess, the not only the difficulties that come with being deaf, but like just showcasing, I guess, like everyday things in her life that get impacted by this. Or I don't, when I have to make a comparison, I always go back to Love's in Sight. So the first volume, right off the bat, we get a very strong personality right away from our main protagonist, who is blind. And throughout the course of just the first volume, we see the different, struggles, the different inventions and things that I overlook that are for this disability that is made to make it easier for them. Also, how that's not always the case. It doesn't always make things easier for them, and that there are still a lot of things out there, easy things that we could change and implement to help those with impaired vision. And we just don't implement those things to help them and make their lives easier, which it just shows a lot more. It shows her character a lot, and it shows how, she lives her day-to-day life with being blind. And this, to me, doesn't do that. It's just a soft, fluffy romance. Like, nice girl happens to be deaf and meets interesting guy, and she is taken with him immediately, like an insta love vibe, and interested in him immediately. And I'll say, yeah, he seems like an interesting guy. Like, he's just got good taste, but like, it just seems like he has the stronger personality, and she's just going to maybe come out of her shell more, maybe, develop a little more, but all because of him. And I don't like that kind of story. But if you do, that's totally okay. And with that, I am unhauling A Sign of Affection. You will see it again in my unhauling video for sure. But I think that I might give away some of these first volumes that I know are good, that I know some people really love. I mean, I see A Sign of Affection everywhere on my Insta. All the romance girlies and boys and non-binary friends, because you can love romance no matter your gender, can enjoy this and do enjoy it. I see it a lot. So yeah, just personally for me, it wasn't it. And an honorable mention, I will say, I don't think it's quite as popular as Sign of Affection, but I do see it a lot, and that is Love of Kill. I want to like this one. I really do. This one I'm torn between trying to maybe get into it or just dropping it entirely, because I really like the setup. The male protagonist is an assassin who never fails to eliminate his targets, and he's really good at what he does, obviously, and a lot of organizations have a bounty on him, but he sets his sights on our female protagonist, and instead of killing her, he wants to seduce her, and she's kind of just wrapped up in whatever this is with him. I don't know, it gave me kind of Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes, if you watch that movie, and kind of Spy Family, like, except for they're not hiding their identities, which I thought could be fun. But instead, it just bored me a little bit. Like, he's interesting enough, I guess, and he's really, skilled, but she's just kind of getting carried along and gets caught up in his, whims. And then she ends up getting like kidnapped and stuff in the first volume. And I'm just like, girl, aren't you an assassin? Like, be badass. Can you be a little bit more badass, please? Like, yeah. I just wanted to throw this in as like an honorable mention. I really want to like it. I mean, I love plots with assassins and romance. Like, that's, yeah, something I just think I would really enjoy. And I see like people that I have a lot of taste in common with enjoy this one, and I just don't get it because I can't enjoy it. It's not quite as popular as the other ones. But moving on back to probably what is the most popular on this list, and it's not one that I'm 100% giving up. I just can't quite get into it, and that is My Hero Academia. So I have like 16 volumes of the manga. I haven't read that far into it. I have watched the whole first season and then some of the second season, if not all of it. I don't remember, but around the second season is when I petered out. I just got bored. I think the manga is a little better to me. Like, The first volume gives me more of an emotional impact than the whole first season did, to be honest. So I have half a mind to continue the manga, so I'm not 100% unhauling this one. I just can't get into it. I don't know what it is. Like, it's not quite as hugely popular as it was before. Like a couple years ago, I'd say was at like its peak popularity. Like, this is probably the Naruto to a whole nother anime manga generation out there, because it's kind of that like the introduction shonen to a lot of younger viewers and readers, which is great. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I couldn't really get into it much, and maybe that's, you know, because I'm not the demographic for shonen anymore, but like there's a lot of ongoing shonen that I really like. I really like Kaiju number 8. I really love D. Gray Man. If you saw my last video, it's a shonen I am the most passionate about that's ongoing. But, you know, Kaiju number 8's a newer release that I'm really into. I like Dan Da Dan. I like Spy Family. You know, there's a lot of shonen I do like. But yeah, it's your typical shonen where our protagonist doesn't have a superpower and all he wants is to be a superhero. And then he meets his hero All Might, and it come to find out All Might can help him to become a superhero, but he has to work really hard. And yeah, you know, it's not a special setup. I think like another thing that I just didn't love was it all takes place in the same city. It all takes place a lot in the same school, at least the first and the second season. Like the first season especially is like just in the school and this class, which is a big cast of characters. So it's the same environment, a huge cast of characters that like I can't emotionally get invested in most of them. Like, I don't like most of them, to be honest with you. And yeah, so I think it would have done better, in my opinion, to have like taken a core group of those characters and taken them out of the school on like some kind of mission, which they kind of do in either the end of the first season or the second season. I can't remember. Which was a highlight for me and why I kind of kept watching for a little longer, but then it slowed right back down again. It just seemed to have a large emphasis on training and tournament arcs, which are just like my least favorite thing in shonen. So I'm not ready to call it 100% quits on this, because I do think I will try and read a little bit further into the manga, at least read what I have of it and see if it ignites my passion for this series. I really wanted to like it because a friend of mine was really into it. I think they're still really into it, but they were really into it a couple of years ago, and so that's why I started trying to watch the anime and get into it so that we could fangirl together, because that's always fun. But I don't know, I can't get into it, and maybe it's just not for me. But like I said, I'm not 100% writing it off yet, so we'll see. Next up, we're going back to romance, but in this case, we're going BL, and it's one of the most popular BL out there, Given. I don't get I haven't given up completely on this one either. I had to. It was so cringy, I know. But I do not understand the hype. I do think that part of it is more the anime because of the music. When there is a strong focus on music, the anime does tend to be more popular, and I haven't watched the anime, so maybe that's why I'm not getting the hype. But I just don't really like our main protagonists. Like, I don't feel the chemistry. I don't get the desire for the chemistry, because Mafuyu, am I saying his name right? Mafuyu? Yeah. He has such a tragic backstory that isn't like from childhood. Like, no, like this had to be recent. The other guy here, Haruki, I think is his name, yeah. I'm trying. Is like interested in him, but like I don't think it's healthy to get together shortly after something like that has happened. Like, I know this is fiction, but like, if you went through something like that, like, first of all, you need therapy. Second of all, you do not need to be getting into another relationship. So like, I can't root for them. Like, I want to, but then I'm like, no, I can't. Like, it's just too much, too messy, and so it makes it really hard to care about their, blossoming feelings or what have you, especially on Haruki's side. And I kind of am interested in the other two in the band and want them to get together. Like, the one likes the other one, but he's not gonna tell him, type of thing. And it's just frustrating. More than anything, I think the word is frustrating. I've read the first 2 volumes. I really went into it positive, wanting to like it, get sucked into, what is a lot of angst and drama and, passion for music. And it's all giving me a good impression. But when I actually read it, I'm like, the art's beautiful. They're written well. I have nothing negative to say against Given. It's frustrating. And I don't like reading something that I feel frustrated about. Like, I feel frustration towards all 4 of these main characters. And it's just like, I don't know if I can deal with a series where all of y'all are kind of problematic in your own ways. And like, I'm sure that's an appeal to some people, but it's just not for me, I guess. Like, I don't know. I have 4 volumes and I'm telling myself, like, you should just at least read the 4 volumes and see what you think after, the 4th volume. So like My Hero Academia, I probably will keep it until I've read a bit more, just to see if my opinion changes. But yeah, I don't know. It's like probably one of the hypest, one of the most beloved BL, and I can't seem to love it like everybody else does. So those first 4 were probably all just a matter of like my personal reading preferences when it comes to the stories. But these last 2 are kind of different because I can't separate my personal feelings from them, like, at all. Like, they make me compare what I'm reading to my own life, which I don't tend to do with fiction. Like, I do not. I fall into the world of fiction and I absolutely either love it or am not a fan of it, which was the case with these other 4 that I talked about. But these were like, yeah, it's different. It's a little different. So anyway, I think you'll understand a bit more as I go into them. So let's just go ahead and talk about the first one, which is Blue Lock. This is a very popular, newer series about kind of a mix of a not quite survival game, battle royale, in the sense that anybody dies, but it is like a survival of fittest. They have to compete against each other and only the winners can advance on in the hopes to become Japan's top striker. They're Messi, if you will. If you don't know soccer, he's just like a really big deal in the soccer world. He scores a lot and he's a powerhouse and everybody wants a Messi on their team. So yeah, this book is all about offense. And guess what position I played in soccer? Defense. I do not like that they fucking shit on defenders and they shit on a super important part of a game and focus 100% on, oh hey, if we just get a powerhouse scorer, that'll solve our problems. We'll be amazing then. Yes, it's great to have a scorer. You cannot win if you do not score goals. But guess what's also important? Stopping goals from happening in your own goal. You need a strong goalie. You need strong defense. And to just have a story that's so gung-ho about offense and like, personally, it's just so fucking annoying. It's like, I don't care. I don't care how many goals you can score. I don't care. I will stop you from scoring those goals. That is my motivation from, 10 plus years in soccer, or football, if you will. But I have such a love of soccer, a love of playing soccer. I wish that I had played it longer, but I also think I would have fucked up my body more. And to be honest, girls can be quite catty little bitches sometimes, so it's not always fun. But the game itself, I loved. I loved playing soccer, and I loved frustrating the offense. That was it was the best thing. I was a little 5'0" girl, and I could take on these, towering girls, and they would just go, and when I heard, I'd be like, oh, you made my day, honey. I love just ruining their day. And when they'd score on me, it would ruin my day. But, that's soccer. There's offense and there's defense. And just like any other sport, you need both. And so to me, I know this fiction. I know that they're just playing on the whole, Messi and that whole dynamic. And you do need a strong striker. You need a strong offense. You need to score the goals. But to me, the best part of soccer is stopping the goals. So I just can't love this series. I did pick up this first volume thinking maybe I will convince myself to love it, because I read a big chunk of it online because everyone was geeking out about it. So I was like, oh, let me check it out. And I was just like, oh, but let me give it a chance. I did. I gave it a chance. I read at least until volume 3 online. And then when the first volume came out, I did pick it up, and I was like, you shouldn't be, so hard on this series. It's got good characters. It's you like those battle royale type stories where the last man standing competition type games, but do not shit on the defense. I'm sorry. It's personal. It's personal with this one. That's what I was trying to explain. There's nothing wrong with this series. I know it's good. I could get into it if I just didn't grow up playing soccer and playing defense, especially. Just makes it impossible to love this one. So yeah, I'm not continuing it. I've decided to just prioritize on series that don't make me frustrated. And again, makes me frustrated, but for personal reasons. Goodbye. And last, this one also was very personal to me, and that is Blue Period. I think this is probably it's not hugely popular in the way that Blue Lock and My Hero Academia are, because they're more shonen and more action-packed. This is probably one of the more popular slice of life I see around though, and it is focused on this guy, this young kid, Yatora, and he is the perfect high schooler. He, doesn't have to work hard. School comes easily to him, good grades, lots of friends, but he's bored. He's bored of life, his day-to-day life is very boring. And then he wanders into the art room, and he is really invested in the art. He is intrigued by the art that he sees and compelled to create his own, and dives headfirst. And the back of the book says he learns how savage and unforgiving art can be. All I saw was him effortlessly excelling at art as well. I'm sure he'll have downfalls. I'm sure he'll have this and that. I could not finish this volume. I don't DNF a volume of manga. I think ever. I always just read the volume to the end, just in case, I couldn't read it anymore because it was literally depressing me. This is gonna get a little personal, but I struggled for years to get published. I wanted to go the traditional route, which was probably a mistake, but I don't know how to market myself very good. I don't know if you could tell just trying to do this YouTube, but I'm not very good at doing all the social media that I should do and putting myself out there as much. So I tried, I wrote a book, then I wrote a sequel to that book, and I tried to get it published. I wrote many query letters. I sent out many to prospective agents, literary agents, and was rejected, always rejected. And eventually it got to me so that I didn't want to write anymore, because what's the point? And I think what really frustrated me with this one was that not only does like the art come pretty easy to him, and he's like showered with accolades for like being a beginner in art, but that he has this strong support system already at school, with like his art teacher being very encouraging and other students being very encouraging. I never had that except for with my family. Like growing up, no teacher was like, oh hey, you write really well, like you should submit to this, or you should enter this contest. Nobody saying or recognizing any sort of talent in me. So that's makes me question if I even have a talent to begin with to write. So that's why I'm like, I don't know which it is. Because he is immediately like, oh, like you have a talent for this. And it was just starting to frustrate me, because I never had any mentorship. I never had any teachers, or later in college professors. They would tell me my writing was good. They would tell me it was interesting, but they would never go and be like, oh, hey, like, I see you have a talent for this, or like come into my office and like, you know, there's a few things you could submit this piece to. I heard they did it for other students, but they didn't do it for me. And so it really made me doubt my abilities. And then years of being rejected from literary agents put the cherry on top for me. So hey, I'm pivoting. I'm doing YouTube instead, to at least have a creative outlet to do something more fun with my life. You know, I am reading manga and talking about it. So, you know, sometimes you just can't get what you want in life, or it just doesn't come easily, and you might have to pivot a couple times, and that's okay. This volume, the first one anyway, you know, like I said, it could definitely, he could have struggles, he could face things, and I don't expect life to come easy for me. I don't expect everything to be handed to me, but I would have really appreciated the support and the encouragement that he received. And like I said, except for my parents, I never received any of that. So it made me doubt myself, and I just was jealous of him. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. I was jealous of Yatora because he, you know, was being treated like, yeah, you should pursue this. This, you know, you could do this, and I was not. So yeah, like I said, very personal. That's the reason I couldn't even finish this first volume. It was literally making me depressed and feeling like a failure all over again. And you just don't want to read a manga that makes you feel like shit, do you? So definitely unhauling. And yeah, those were the series that I just can't get into. I just, you know, for one reason or another, I'm not a fan of. They're pretty popular, a lot of people like them, but they're just not for me. Whether it's just more basic in the sense that I couldn't get into the story itself and really connect with the characters, or it was on a more personal note, you know? But either way, there's so many manga out there. Why would I focus on manga that doesn't excite me and frustrates me? And yeah, when I could be reading ones that excite me and make my heart squeeze and give me all sorts of good, happy emotions instead. And of course, let me know in the comments what are popular series that you just can't get into. I'd love to hear about them, whether they're these series that I mentioned or completely other series. It's always fun to have a discussion about the series that you aren't into, as well as the ones you really love. And yeah, even if we have differing opinions, it's still fun to talk about and see other people's perspective on why they don't like something. I have some others that I also just didn't get super into that I could have mentioned on here, so you might see like a part 2 or like some more titles that I talk about, but for now I just picked these ones. So yeah. And of course, if you watched all the way to this point, thank you so much. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. The goal for the channel is to get to 1,000. That's the next goal. And yeah, we're slowly but surely getting there, and that's really exciting. So thank you everyone who has subscribed. And with that, until next time, bye!